David's our broad topic.
Our broad topic. That's right. I don't care. We're going to run long. Broad topic. Greg, to give everybody the background, how many feature films have you made?
I made 2 feature films.
How many short films have you made?
I don't know.
Countless.
20, 30, 40.
Yeah.
It also depends what you count, because it goes all the way back to my childhood doing little stuff with my brothers in it that could technically be classified as a short film.
Things you put your name on.
Right.
That's what I call it. That's where
Yeah.
you classify it. Like Bulletstorm. Was Bulletstorm a short film?
Yeah, Bulletstorm was about 45 minutes long.
Yeah. That was the first thing I remember you showing me and being like, this is what I made as a kid.
Yeah.
And then, like, the DVD has data rot and, like, couldn't watch the whole thing.
Right.
We're going to find a copy and save that.
The thing is, that's when I was, that was made over a long period of time, but I was probably like 14 to 16 throughout the course of filming that movie. And, it goes all the way back to me being like 7. Right. So it gets a lot worse than Bulletstorm. And Bulletstorm's not very good.
That's true. And then, and you've recorded 1 LP.
Right.
The Jesse Thunderwake soundtrack.
Right.
Because I produced the film and I produced the album.
Right. For which I wrote the lyrics and
warbled.
sang.
There you go. There's a lot of auto-tune.
Yeah, auto-tune sang it.
Yeah.
But I provided the data to manipulate.
That's right. You did a good job. It wasn't that bad. And there's one tune where you're not auto-tuned.
I think there are 2.
B-word is the one where you're not.
Okay. But there was pretty minimal auto-tuning in Call Me Jesse.
Yeah.
And also in Next Big Star.
No, there was a lot of auto-tune in Next Big Star.
Was there?
Yeah.
Okay. It just because, I mean, everything else sounds completely auto-tuned. Everything else sounds like that.
Well, what happened was that Next Big Star, I think, if I remember correctly, we had done that one earlier. And I think I had more time. And then by the time we got to doing... what was it? I look at the...
Misery.
By the time we got to that one, I was just like, we just got to finish this thing and get it out. And so I was just hardlining. I was really auto-tuning it, where before I was hand-tuning it and trying to make it sound natural. But yeah, there's some auto-tune. You are a writer. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because you're a very good writer. And the lyrics on it are hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've made 2 feature films, a bunch of short films.
I've written like 11 screenplays.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is because I just want to make sure that everybody understands where we're coming from. So I've been producing music for other people since I was about 19. I've been recording myself since I was about Greg's age when he first started making, when he made Bulletstorm. That 14 to 16. Those are my earliest surviving recordings. And they're awful. But the reality is we've been at this a very long time. But I produced Jesse Thunderwake.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I produced the short film before that.
Pacifist.
The Pacifist, which I don't think anybody can find for a whole lot of reasons that I really don't want to talk about. And then before that, I had scored The Outlands, which I think is on MySpace still somewhere. We should put that up. Let me put that up on this channel.
Really want people watching The Outlands and associating it with me. It's not very good.
I think it's hilarious.
It is hilarious. I'll give it that.
Like the production value is god awful.
It's really awful. It was done on Final Cut Express with a non-HD camera, and there were a whole lot of filters on it.
Right.
But I think, let's put it out. Let's let everybody hear what Don did with the film score. Because it was pretty funny at certain points. The synth noise when the one guy starts floating. And I'm like, this is just really cheesy and fun. So we're going to make it a real cheesy and fun sound right here. And some of it's pretty cool. So anyway, so we both have done, you've certainly been around because you used to live with me. You shoot the Freeform Fridays. So we both have experience doing both things.
Right.
So how is making music different than making a movie to you?
How is it different to make it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, every project is different, regardless of whether you're doing movies or music.
That's true, because you can make a film with like 8 people, or
right?
2 people, and you can make an album with like 50. Yeah.
Right. And you can start out. Usually in a movie, probably you would start out with just one person who writes the whole thing, who figures out what the story is, and then a bunch of people jump in and start contributing based on what he has drawn up personally.
Sure.
So you start with one person, you build to more, and then you condense back to where it's just an editor and a director.
So going through the steps, though, it still sounds like audio.
Right.
You haven't stepped out of that process to me.
But you could compare that to something like what you do with Freeform Fridays. Very much starts with a group of people, and there's many people contributing to it right from the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. But in the end,
But I mean, you can at the same time you could do a movie that was improvised.
There's been movies that were improvised. There was Man of the Year with not the Man of the Year with Robin Williams. There's Man of the Year with John Ritter.
Right.
That was I believe that was fully improvised. So it's hard to define, isn't it? To me, the difference between making audio and film is complexity. That's it. It's still art. In many ways, I will sound a little funny when I say this, and I apologize, but music is a little more of a direct artistic you're capturing a little more direct of an artistic contribution, where film, there's so many elements that every individual artistic contribution.
Right. Film is basically a combination of pretty much every art.
Yeah.
It is writing, it is performance, it is music, it is photography, it is often
set design and
right, but often drawing is used, at least in backdrops or set extensions or whatever. There's just there's just pretty much no matter what art you do, you could be part of a movie.
Yeah.
And music is less so, but
we're kind of breaking those rules with Freeform Fridays.
Yeah.
Once the music video came in, that line got broken.
Right. There are a lot of different instruments that you can play to participate, but probably, a painter wouldn't normally have much to do with a music project.
There's been some of that. There are certainly projects like that where musicians play, painters paint, and it's a collaborative experience.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, though, it just comes back to cost and complexity to me. It's really easy to make an album on $0. It's really easy.
If you've got the equipment, yeah.
I don't care. Listen. You got the equipment, right?
But by that same token, you can do a movie on that for $0.
Can you? Can you really? Not really. Because ultimately you're going to spend money on something to make a film.
It depends how you're defining movie.
Yeah.
Because we are making a movie right now.
Yes, that's true. You're technically making a movie.
We're all sitting here, and this is going to be a feature-length video of all of us.
We're approaching epic, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
this is gonna
broad
be
topic.
it's gonna be Ben-Hur like.
Yeah, not really.
No.
No, I meant the remake.
Yeah.
I completely lost what I was saying there.
It's okay. I mean, the lines have become really, really blurred now.
Right.
Now, if you went back
There-
to the day of analog, where audio had to be made analog and film had to be made analog, then it's very clear how they're very different.
Mhm.
Right.
But now we got a phone, and yeah, you could totally just make a film with your phone.
Right. And there was I never remember who the director is, but there was a director who said that film will never truly be an art form until the materials to make it are as cheap as a pencil and paper.
Yep.
And
It's
I think
just
that's
about
kind
there.
of what you were getting at
You
there.
didn't turn
is-
off the air conditioner.
I thought I did.
You clearly didn't.
But it's like when you almost any time that a movie is made, there is a certain level of this needs to make money.
Yep.
It needs to be a return on investment. So you approach that differently than you would something that you were just drawing for yourself.
But this isn't drawing versus movies. This is music.
But I mean, I think music fits in with movies. I mean, I'm sure that you've written a lot of music that you never had any desire to sell. that
You know, that's the tricky part, right? Like, I certainly don't make music with the sale in mind.
Right.
I don't make music in any way in any way where I think it will help. I do a lot. I compromise a lot of things artistically with the podcast, right? Like these clickbaity things.
Yeah.
These do you give a bleeps? But with music, it's really I'm just kind of making the art and I'm making it available.
we're getting closer to that with film because it is getting cheaper and
Yeah.
basically pretty much anybody can make a movie. It just wouldn't necessarily be anything watchable.
And that's also
But-
true. The difference between like amateur made music and amateur made film,
Yeah.
oftentimes the divide there is very, very clear.
Yeah, the production quality.
Well, the same can be made for audio, but like right now, for example, we got an air conditioner running in the background. It's going to drive me nuts when I upload this thing. I don't know if I can take it out. I will try to take it out, but I'm a little upset. But the long and short of it is, like, in a professional setting, we would have turned that off. So, but you see what I mean? Like the amateur will always with music, even when it's a pro doing it, they may decide, you know what, this needs one microphone in the room. Period.
Yeah, and there are different ways to identify amateurishness, where you in a movie that was made very amateurishly, you can likely look at a screenshot and know just from one screenshot, oh, this was not produced on a high budget. But it might look fine, and you might listen to it and think somebody didn't do a good job on this.
Should also be noted, you might think it was amazing, right? Like, there's been all sorts of good amateurish films that have gone on to do great things.
Oh no, there are plenty. I mean,
It's not a reason to not do it. Just because
No.
the audience can tell. It
The
just means
thing
you're going
is-
to have a smaller audience.
the thing is, in art, you make a whole bunch of crap before you make something good.
Yeah.
And that's just how it works.
Unless you're
So-
Quentin Tarantino.
I've seen My Best Friend's Birthday.
Have you?
The footage that still exists of it, it's really pretty bad.
Okay.
It's also I've also read the full script from it, which is a little better than the movie that came out of it, but still is not a good script. So, I mean, everybody started somewhere, and I don't. It's very unlikely that you're going to jump into any art form
And be good.
and be good at it without first making tons of mistakes and doing horrible stuff. That's just how you get good at something.
It's true. And like we were talking about on a previous episode, like now with the internet and the fact that once it's online, it's never coming off.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to suppress it.
It's it's like I was saying a minute ago about the Outlands, that I hate that movie and I don't want to look at it because it's
I'm
really
totally
amateurishness.
I'm going to go find the link and post it in the description now.
But
It is amateurish.
yeah, and
It
you
was kids
get a little
screwing
better. My first movie, Gunslinger P.I., I don't really like to look at anymore. It's really bad, and I mean that's not really bad, but it's
really good,
It's
except for some really glaring parts. Like I remember watching it going, this has problems, but the core of this is good.
right, and it's why I wrote it as a novel, was because it bugged me that there was stuff that I just felt like I got wrong in it, and I didn't want to remake the whole movie, but I wanted to take another shot at it. And that's what happens, and you know, Thunderwake. Maybe when I'm 5 movies down from now, I won't be able to look back at Thunderwake.
I have a hard time looking at it because there are technical problems.
Yeah, I've got problems with Thunderwake. And I've got like the first book that I wrote. Now that I've written 5 more, I look back at that book and it's like I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. So you're gonna make stuff that sucks, and you're gonna get better at it. And I don't even know exactly how I got to this from music versus movies.
Well, because if you think about it, the analogy is a musician practices.
I guess it's because it's so much cheaper to do. Usually, it's harder to shoot 100 hours of film than it is to play 100 hours of guitar.
It's harder.
To shoot 100
more
hours
expensive.
of film.
It's definitely a film.
Yeah,
Like
movies.
this is again the line gets
Movies.
drawn. Yeah, 100 hours of feature film. Like I'm attempting to make feature film. Yeah, you're right. It would be more complex. Though there's a lot of concert footage and things. The thing about it is with a musician, it's more like
Something's going on your camera here.
Oh,